Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to the MP Podcast. Gotta get rid of the teeth. Welcome to the MP Podcast, where we are cracking open a boy with the cold ones. I'm Vampire Lincoln.
I am Clown Boy ABomb.
What's going on?
What's going on, guys? Liquid Death. Okay, so I've never had. I made you bring these in.
I know, before you taste it,
Yeah, okay.
you
Got me
made
at the right time.
Yeah, you made me bring it in because you wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And so,
When we did the pumpkin shoot at your house, I saw you had them, and then I was like, yo, can I? Okay.
it's literally water.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting anything crazy, but to drink water from a can is a new experience for me. Like,
That's fair.
It's a crazy world out there, but drinking water from a can.
Drinking water from a can. Yeah,
It's cool. Thanks for bringing those in.
You're welcome. It kind of fits with the Halloween theme,
Totally.
the whole liquid death thing.
100%.
Yes, it is Halloween week, and we are very excited. Adam has a great story to tell us, a very extraterrestrial story. We want to talk about. There's a couple things I want to talk
Yeah,
about.
for
There's
sure.
a movie that I watched last night that I
Okay.
want to talk about.
I did too. Okay.
Perfect. But let's start with your.
Oh, you want to start off there?
Let's start off there because I think it's a great. I
Okay,
think
well,
it's a great
quickly,
story.
last week, so I had let's just go into the reading quickly, because I
Oh,
won't
yeah.
spend much time on that.
Right. Okay, yeah. So you.
So I had, I had a card reading. So I had put out there on social media that I was looking for, I don't know why, but I've been interested in maybe, getting a reading lately. I don't know why. I've never had a reading in my life.
Right.
I can't even say that I believe it or not. I was just, more curious about it, I guess. So I put out on social media looking for, an intuitive or a psychic or something. So some people got back to me. I ended up booking an appointment with this woman named Carol. Now, she lives in Eastern Canada, but right now she's in Victoria. And so she's doing readings over the phone and stuff. So my friend spoke very highly of her. So I was like, okay. So I had it last Sunday, not this Sunday, the one before anyways. And so how she works is that she talks to your spirit guides, I guess. I don't know what that is or what they're guiding me. They need to do a better job of guiding me right now.
100%.
So what they do, I guess, is what her process is that they will basically bombard her with names and dates to confirm information. And that's how it works for her.
Brian, 1974.
Yeah. And do you want to know what I'm really bad at? Names and dates.
Yeah. I'm not
You know
surprised
who
by
you
that.
need to have with you? Your mom. You know, because moms always know the history of the family so well. Usually, I mean, dads too, I guess. I don't have one, so. But my mom, if I had her there, she would have known. Anyway, so the reading starts off, and to be honest, I was very open-minded. I had no questions. She just started she said she started writing stuff down before before we even had our phone conversation. So
Okay.
So anyway, so she's throwing out all these names, and I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, Helen. I'm like, I don't know. And then she's like September birthdays, and I'm like, and I started feeling really kind of bad because for the first little bit, nothing was really hitting.
Right.
But yeah, we ended up talking about life, work, everything, obviously, and some stuff started coming through. She told me not to tell her anything, basically. So even if she's wrong on something, don't correct her as being oh, that must be my aunt, blah blah blah, because she's I don't want you to think that you're leading me down a path.
Right. Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of people out there who work like that.
Oh, there is.
Who aren't legitimate and who really just
100%.
listen to how you react to their questions or whatever. So anyways, but at one point, the highlights for me were basically, she said that she also feels pain from when, how people have passed. And that's a signal from the spirit coming through, just giving authenticity to their experience and who they are.
Okay.
So she was like, I'm getting pain in my eye. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I'm getting severe pain in my eye, in my head. She's like, have you had anyone who passed from this? And I was like, well, yes. I didn't tell her this, but my grandma passed that way. She had brain tumors, cancer, that kind of thing. And then also my dog recently passed. He was having seizures and head pain as well, but I didn't say that. And so she's like, I'm getting a different feeling from this. She's like, I'm not getting like a clear vision of like, she's like, I don't think it's somebody. And I was like, And so then I was like, maybe it's my dog. Like maybe that's where
Maybe it's Lou.
So I told her, I was like, well, my dog. And she, right away, she was like, yeah, it's your dog.
Yeah.
And she was like, he was a big guy. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, he was like different. She's like, he wasn't dark in color. He was like tan, kind of like a mix. And I was like, yeah, he was brindle. Like, and she's like, yeah, it's your dog. He's coming through. He just wants you to know that you made the right decision when you did, which is something that I was struggling with. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
And then she also said that if I would have left it, that he would have gone blind and had like a lot of other problems. So I was like, oh, wow. Like that kind of like really obviously hit home for me. So I mean, to have your dog come through, I don't know. Like that sounds, I was not expecting that at all.
No, but really though, like who have you been the closest to in your entire life?
Oh, 100%.
Other than Lou.
Yeah, I mean, other than family and friends, like, yeah, definitely my dog is one of them. And that goes for a lot of people who have pets out there. So
Totally.
So for him to come through, I was like, that's kind of cool. Because I thought, like, maybe he would be like, later. Like, he would be like, yo, please. Because, like, you always think that you're not the best owner. Like, I mean, I thought I was a good dad, but there was always, like, things that there's guilt. There's always guilt. Anyways.
You were one of the best dog dads I know out there.
Thanks, dude.
And I'm not just saying that. Like, I'm on the same, like, I don't take my dogs for walks nearly as much as I should, probably at all. My wife does most of it with them, and most of the interactions I have with my dog are just at home, like when I get home from work and I'm just kind of, cuddle them on the couch or whatever and stuff like that. So you are definitely one of the better dog owners I know.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. I did take it seriously, and it was like a major component of my life. So, but to have him come through, that was rad. She also talked about how she sees me having my own business in the future. Cool. Which is cool because that's something that I've wanted for a long time, in different aspects. So anyways, stuff like that. It was cool. It was great. We left it on a positive note. And then she asked me, so she said, you're Aries, you're a fire sign. She said that you work best with your words. She didn't tell me, like, she didn't ask me what my job was, but she was like, I know that you just started working a job where you can actually use all of the components of your abilities in your astrological sign and who you are as a person to really put this into your job. And she's like, Aries work really well with words. They work well like as teachers, writers, people on camera, stuff like that. And I was like, oh,
interesting.
So I told her, I was like, yeah, actually I'm doing this like YouTube thing with my buddy. And she was like, oh, that's awesome. And she asked me for advice for her own YouTube channel. But I was like, maybe you would want to be on the show in the future. And she said, yeah, definitely. Perfect. So that would be cool. It's something we could do in the future. So,
well, yeah, because I mean, that's the thing. Like I've always been skeptical of that stuff. Like I believe in like some sort of afterlife, otherworld kind of thing. Sure. But it's still, I don't know. It's just like there's still part of me that's super skeptical and
definitely,
you know what I mean? Like
I kind of wanted it to be more profound than it was,
right?
But it was still good. Like, I mean, it was for my first reading, so
right.
I'm happy with it.
That's good.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, like it was it expensive?
So it wasn't bad for her. It was like she had a sale on at the time. I think it's regularly $155. I paid $100 for 60 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
Everyone else in comparison was like $375.
Oh my God!
It's
See, and that's why I'm skeptical because I'm just
once you start looking into it, like the prices that they charge per half hour or hour, it was crazy.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just like, yeah, okay, clairvoyant. Oh, sure. I mean, I get it. Clairvoyance is it's an industry where you can make really good money if you can make people happy, and that's
$375 an hour.
Yeah, I think that's where I get really skeptical about it. Where I'm just like, and
they're like, just e-transfer. You're like,
oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Let your spirit guides figure that out.
Yeah, the tax man doesn't follow the spirits,
right?
So. We had traditions every Halloween where obviously like we would, carve pumpkins, dress up, go trick-or-treating when we were kids and stuff like that. Yeah. And then as you get older, the traditions kind of changed because now
you can't get candy.
No,
now you can buy it.
Now you literally. I mean, literally,
everybody does.
I have spent way too much money on candy this year, and I haven't even eaten like
that's
half of it. I just like every time I go to Walmart, I'm like, oh yeah, I should pick up some more just in case.
Right.
Knowing that I'll like eat a few pieces here or there.
Oh, of course.
But I'm like, I have so much candy.
These are the death size. They're just so easy
you're like,
to eat, and you eat like 8 of them, and you're like, oh, that wasn't like even a chocolate bar. But
yeah,
it was really like 3.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like we moved into our new house, obviously, and like last year with COVID, we didn't get that many. We didn't get that many kids. We still got a few.
Yeah.
But this year, I think it's going to be a little different. Like I think there's going to be more. I'm really hoping.
Oh, I think
there's
so.
going to be a lot more
people
and I want
vaccinated
to
and
do
stuff.
Yeah. I want to do a whole
cool.
Like I don't know if I'm going to do it this year, but I think next year I want to plan like a whole thing.
Yeah.
At the house.
I know we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm totally down.
I want to do like a full on because that was the thing I loved the most when I was a kid. I want to do like a full on haunted house.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I'm so down.
On my driveway and like build walls. And
yes,
like,
I'm so down. Yeah.
Because honestly, like the people that when I was a kid, when I went trick or treating, the people that put that kind of effort into it, were that every year you're like, I want to go back to that house.
Yeah, oh for sure, definitely.
You know, it didn't matter what they were giving out.
Oh no.
They could have been giving out apples. It really didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they were putting an effort and they were giving you an experience. It wasn't just going door to door.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
I love that idea.
So for you, I guess, like, because I mean, you haven't been trick or treating like a little bit longer than I have.
This is an old person joke.
Yeah, old person joke. No, but I'm just so you hand out candy every year, don't you?
I don't.
You don't?
No. I mean, my place is in the basement this year. I just moved into a basement suite like in the last year. So previous Halloween, I don't even think I was home. To be on, I was working 100% working.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I was at WestJet at like my last few. It was like the last week there. So last year I was at work. I don't hand out candy. For 15 years I lived downtown in an apartment, so that never really came through. But yeah, I love that you like. What did you do last Halloween?
Oh, so last Halloween I sat on my front step for
I love that
3 or 4 hours, literally because I had built. So I saw people online; they were building candy slides from like their down their stairs so that they could drop candy down the slide and then it goes into the kid's bag, right? For COVID.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing. I built a little candy slide and I sat out on my front step so that nobody had to come up the stairs to ring the doorbell. It was just like it was super, and it wasn't like warm. I wore my snowsuit. Like it wasn't. But
this
it also
time last
wasn't.
year I got a reminder October 24th. There was like already like 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah, it was. There was no snow on the ground on Halloween, so it would have melted by then.
Okay,
yeah. But it wasn't freezing cold. So I did wear my snowsuit, but I sat out there for a good 3 or 4 hours. I think this year, I want to sit on the driveway.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put the fire table on the driveway and set up some chairs around it, like put music on, do some lights, stuff like that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do this year.
Nice,
which will be fun, but. I don't know. I mean, I carved this pumpkin yesterday because I wanted to have it on the pod. Did you notice the face too?
I didn't really look at it. No.
So it's the face from the Halloween movie.
Oh,
like it's the jack-o'-lantern from Halloween, where it's like the nose kind of makes a knife. Yeah. That's I carve one of those. I carve one of those every year because obviously it's like one of my favorite Halloween movies. But yeah, like when you were a kid, what was your favorite Halloween tradition when you were a kid? Because that would have been like what, the late 70s, early 80s?
I'm gonna punch your face.
No, I'm
I mean, I was born in 79, so it was 80s.
Sorry, okay, 80s. Yeah, because I was born in 88, so okay.
Yeah.
So mine was the 90s, so yours was the 80s. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Tradition for me normally would be like when I was a young kid is that I would probably go early trick-or-treating in my neighborhood with my friends.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'd have dinner and then my mom would rush me down to Kensington where my grandma lived.
Okay.
And then my grandma would buy me like a bunch of treats and then she would give me like a Halloween gift bag. And then because she lived in Kensington, which is like a nicer area than where I lived as a kid, I would just cruise around there and get candy. And so I would always end up with like obviously a ton of candy.
Yeah.
But Halloween for me has always been my favorite time of year. It's always been my favorite holiday. I love it more than Christmas. I love it more than my birthday. Like, I really honestly love Halloween because it's a fun holiday in the fact that you just dress up and you just have fun. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't like trick-or-treating's great. But, like, pre-COVID, there was, like, Halloween parties and dances. And, like, it's fun to go and dress up and see your friends. And, like, it's just a really fun time anyways. So
We trick-or-treated. It's so funny to think back on this, but we trick-or-treated all the way. I think we trick-or-treat. Our last year trick-or-treating was like after we were out of high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think we trick-or-treated. Maybe I definitely
But in
trick-or-treated.
small towns, maybe it's a little bit more relaxed that
Oh
way.
yeah, like, and it was like our group of friends. I mean, I was 18. I think I was 18 or 19 the last time I went
Right.
trick-or-treating.
I
And it
still
was
feel like that's around like 17, 18. I feel like
It's
you're
so-
still allowed.
But it's so funny. Like, now being in my early 30s,
Yeah.
I look back at 18,
Yeah.
19, and I'm like, oh, 100% I would have gone. Like, of course, I wish I had gone trick-or-treating in my 20s.
Yeah, right.
Because honestly, like, I was a kid.
Oh, for
But at
sure.
that time, you're thinking, oh,
Yeah, you're like,
man,
I'm
like,
too old
I'm
for this shit.
I'm a little old for that.
for
I'm an
sure.
adult.
Yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
adult. But yeah, like, it's, that was when I moved to Crossfield. Those last 3 years of trick-or-treating was amazing.
yeah.
You know, all throughout high school and stuff like that, because before I moved to Crossfield, I trick-or-treated with my siblings
Right.
because I didn't really have friends in the neighborhood that I lived in because my school was so far. Like, I lived in Northwest Calgary and my school was in Southeast
Oh, wow.
Calgary. It was
Okay.
so dumb. So all my friends, they lived kind of all over the city. So
Right.
it was like meeting up for them to go trick-or-treating was like impossible.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So when we moved to Crossfield, it was like, okay, all right, like I can actually go trick-or-treating with like a whole, there was like 20 of us and we
Right.
would just like go house to house. We probably, you know, we were like the warriors
Yeah,
come
yeah.
out to, like, it was unreal and it was the best. And that's the part about Halloween I miss the most, I think, is
Yeah.
those 3 years because they went by way too quick.
Yeah.
And
What about getting home and like dumping everything?
oh, it was
out?
amazing.
Isn't that the
your
best
pillowcase, like
feeling?
turning that over, and you're just like, yeah.
And then your homie doesn't like arrows, but you do. But you don't like Kit Kats, but he does.
So
you
the
do
trading
trades.
begins.
Yeah,
I
I love that. That whole
Yeah.
process. That's
Oh.
all of it. Is
oh
so
yeah,
amazing.
the trading. Oh yeah, the bartering with candy and the yeah. You're like, all right, you don't like Kit Kat? Well, yeah, I don't like Crispy Crunch. Here,
So let's do it. Yeah,
Let's do
trade
it.
it up. Yeah.
no, that was amazing. You know how sometimes people give out little bags of chips.
Yeah.
Okay. That's one of my favorite things to get.
Nice.
Is little bags of chips. However,
Yeah.
I always either wanted salt and vinegar
Yeah.
or ketchup.
Right.
The Old Dutch ketchup or Old Dutch salt and
Salt and
vinegar.
vinegar, yeah.
And I sometimes got Old Dutch salt and vinegar. Never once did I ever get Old Dutch ketchup.
Yeah, that's
Never
weird.
once.
I wonder if they do mini bags of those even.
They do because I bought
guess.
that box of Old Dutch chips.
Oh, all right, and they do. Right. Yeah.
And the reason I bought that is because you know what? I finally won. I finally won because I ate all the ketchup ones and all the rest I'm going to give out to kids. But I think, and then I was trying to, while I was like eating like a little bag of ketchup chips, I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, how did I never get a bag of ketchup chips? And then it kind of hit me. I was like, because the people who bought them to hand them out, they probably ate them.
yeah, you're
And-
on the receiving end of what you're doing
yeah,
to your kids.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It goes around, comes around.
It 100% does. Okay,
Yeah.
regale us.
Wait,
With-
you said you watched a movie. Quick.
Oh, you want to do movies now?
Okay, well, we
let's
can
do
do-
movies.
let's do movie quick.
Let's do movies quick. Okay, so what movie did you watch?
I went to see Dune last night.
Oh, you went to okay.
Yes.
And
have you seen the original?
I tried to watch the original. I tried. I got
Me too.
because I know I love David Lynch, and I love. Okay, I say I love David Lynch, but I have not seen everything that he's done,
Okay.
and I can't even stomach everything that he's done. I
Okay.
got 20 minutes into Dune, and I was like, okay, all right, that's good.
Yeah.
How is the new one?
It's great. Oh, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. The director...
Denis Villeneuve, I think is his name.
Yeah, he's wanted to redo this movie since he was a child.
Yep. I believe it.
So to have a lifelong mission and goal like that, and then to have it finally come full circle.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that are in this movie, like Javier Bardem and like you have Batista,
Zendaya, yeah.
You have
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah. You have
Oscar Isaac.
You have Aquaman, Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa's in it. Yeah, Rebecca.
You're just like everywhere you turn around, you're like, whoa, he's in it. Whoa, I had no idea Javier Bardem was in it. No idea until he showed up. I was like, damn, and I love him.
Yeah.
Like I love his face. I love the way he acts. He just has one of those faces that it portrays so much emotion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In comparison to like Keanu Reeves, who is like stoically John Wick forever. Because they showed a preview for the new Matrix movie, which I've seen, everyone's seen.
Yeah.
But I cannot get over that he looks exactly like John Wick.
Yeah.
If you didn't know,
he's got long hair.
It's the exact same.
It's the exact
They
same.
never changed it. And maybe he goes through like a glow up in the show and they cut his hair in the movie or something, and then you're like, okay, Neo.
I think he does, because I think there was on-set photos at some point where he had short hair. So I think he does.
Oh,
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Going back to Dune.
Yeah.
So Dune's good.
Amazing.
So it's worth going to see in the theater.
3 hours long.
Oh my God.
Part 1.
What?
Yeah, it's a 2-parter.
What?
2-parter. Yep. Yes, sir.
I
was completely enthralled the entire time. Let's talk Timothy Chalamet for a second.
Yeah.
The whole time at the movie, I'm like, who is this guy? He's so familiar, but I don't know who he is, but I can't place him.
Okay.
And so I Google him on the way home, and I'm like, wait. He has received several accolades through it. He's 25.
Yeah. He's super young.
He's got nominated for an Academy Award.
Yep.
3 BAFTA Film Awards.
Mm-hmm.
2 Golden Globe Awards.
Yeah.
4 Screen Actor Guild Awards, 4 Critics' Choice Movie Awards. I was blown away. I was joking. This some fucking kid from Riverdale. No idea that he was as.
You still don't know who he is.
No, well, once I started reading through, I was like, oh, he was in that movie. Oh, he was in that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I started
yeah.
placing him with my buddy that I went to see the show. I'm not going to drag you guys through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was just surprised to hear how he's done off-Broadway, he's done Broadway, he's done plays, he's done TV, he's done...
Oh,
he's
yeah.
25. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's...
No idea.
Yeah, he's like a super... He's like on... he's on that like super kind of like upward trajectory in terms of like... he's on like the... It's funny because to me, he's kind of doing the Robert Pattinson thing, but with more awards.
Yeah. That
is the way I look at it, because
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is a incredible actor, but I don't think he's getting the recognition that he deserves because of Twilight.
fair. Not fair that he's going through that, but, you know.
No, but yeah,
Why
Timothy,
should that even be a thing, you know?
What
the guy made a movie to like start off his career.
Well,
like,
and it's
I don't think he should be judged for that.
More recently, we were I was talking to, and somehow I think we got on the topic of the Batman, the new one, and she just immediately launched into like, oh. No, screw Robert
flipping the
Pattinson.
table.
Yeah, like
Flipping
screw
the table.
Robert Pattinson, the
Sorry,
stupid
Brennan.
Twilight motherfucker. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh my God, broaden your horizons. Like, go watch something else that he's done. And I don't think she has. I don't think she's literally watched any other movie that he's done because
except for Twilight.
Yeah, because and I don't even know if she had watched those, but like some people are just so set.
Yeah.
They're so set in that where they just cannot break from.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, he did Twilight, so he's a terrible actor.
Or he did one movie you don't like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, so Timothy Chalamet, like, he did one called, I think it's called Hot Summer Nights.
Yeah.
And it's like, have you ever seen it?
No.
It's an A24 film, but it's great. It's a great movie. It's almost Tarantino-esque, but not quite. And it's like, it's set in the 80s, I think.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of really great actors too. And,
Cool.
and Timothy Chalamet, I think that was like the first thing I had watched him in where I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like I really enjoy this kid. And then Like, did you obviously saw his SNL?
No, but I saw the highlight. I didn't see it. Dude, did I send you that video?
The Pete Davidson.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That's why you sent it to me. That's why you sent it, because you obviously were like, oh, Timothy Chalamet, and then obviously the Pete Davidson, like where they're
just that skit alone.
with. They're rapping.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so funny. But that's the thing, is like that's
killing me.
That is the mark. To me, that is the mark of a really good actor.
Right.
Somebody that can like do that kind of stuff and still at the end of the day kind of have that funny, goofy side where they're not taking they can take the acting seriously, and they can like give a really good performance. But then they're not taking themselves so seriously that like I can't go on SNL and make a fool of myself.
Right.
Like I like that about him.
I feel like SNL would be insanely terrifying. Actor or no actor, like the idea of doing something live, and then not only that, you're doing something out of your comfort zone, and everyone's going to be judging you, and everyone the stress I can imagine. But
no, thank you.
But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed. He's amazing in the show, and the movie is really good. I was like completely enthralled. I didn't
you saw that
didn't
last
get out
night
of the theater till 1:30.
Oh my God!
It's a good thing I'm wearing makeup right now, because underneath my eyes look like yours.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Well, that's good. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go see it. Maybe not today, but I'm gonna go see it right away.
Yes.
What
about you? Watched a movie?
So I watched.
You probably watched a lot of movies, but the one you want to talk about.
Well, I watched. Okay, I watched 2 movies last night. Actually.
Okay.
The first one I watched was the new James Wan horror film *Malignant*.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
Do you know anything about it?
I've seen the preview multiple times, but I've never watched it.
I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't know anything about it. Had no interest in watching it.
Okay, I thought it was about tumors.
So
like malignant tumors and like.
Well, I don't know what
it's like cancerous tumors or not. Or like
I don't know what the trailer portrays, because I obviously didn't watch the trailer. But
enough.
Jared was the one that Jared had messaged me out of the blue when he saw it in theaters and was like, "Watch this movie."
Oh, okay.
So it was on iTunes. I was like, "All right, I'm gonna watch." Like it's horror movie season.
Oh, 100%.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
And I had zero expectation for this movie going into it, and oh my God, the first 2/3 is kind of stupid.
Okay.
But the third act makes up for all of it, and I was laughing so hard. It's amazing.
Okay.
And I'm not telling you anything
That's
about
fine,
it.
that's
Only
fine. I don't
purely
want you to.
just not to. I don't want to
will
ruin
be watching it. Okay.
Yeah. It's. I was so happy with how that movie ended.
Okay.
So happy, because it honestly, it was great.
Sweet.
The second movie I watched was Cop Shop. It's the new. It has Gerard Butler in it. It has, I want to say Frank Grillo.
Okay.
Toby Huss was also in it. He's the old guy from. You would recognize him anyway. It's a Joe Carnahan movie, which is Joe Carnahan is the guy who directed Smokin' Aces.
Okay. Yeah.
I love his movies so much. I think he's an amazing director.
Smoking Aces was a good movie.
Smokin' Aces is a
good movie.
really good movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Really good movie.
I watched that on a plane.
So, yeah. So, going into this one,
Yeah.
I had said to Jared, I want to watch this movie. And Jared was like, it looks so stupid. And I'm like, no, it does. I'm like, no, this movie's going to be great. Looked it up, Rotten Tomatoes. It had 80% across the board. It was certified fresh.
Sweet.
So I sent him that, and he was like, there's no way. That's a lie. I'm like, no, it's not.
He just wants to hate.
He just wanted to hate. He was
Yeah.
like, it. Look, he kept telling me, even though I watched the movie and I told him, dude, it's an 8.5 in my book. It's that like I loved it.
Yeah.
He's like, it's still. He was like, the trailer made it look so hokey and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, just watch it. I'm really hoping that he comes back from that one and he was just like, okay, yeah, you were right.
I hope so too.
Because honestly, it's like, it's got a lot of really great action. It's got a really good kind of like.
What style of movie is it?
It's like it's.
You said Cop Shop?
Cop Shop, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a.
Obviously about cops.
Yeah, it's kind of like an action movie that happens in a police station.
Oh.
Over the course of like a few hours or whatever, and it's just like it gets really action packed, and there's a lot of like, violence and like
Cool.
it's really cool, and
Sweet.
it just like to me. I was super happy with it because to me, I was like, all right, that's like Joe Carnahan getting back to like,
Right.
It is like on Smokin' Ace's level in terms of like how
nice.
much I loved that movie
Sweet.
of his movies.
Yeah.
Because the humor level in Smokin' Aces and like the action, like everything about Smokin' Aces is like I can't say it's a perfect movie because there's no perfect movie, but it's a good like Smokin' Ace is a good movie.
Yeah.
This one, he gets right back to that, and there's like so much good dark humor and like
I love that,
and great
I love dark
dialogue.
humor.
Like the oh my god, the dialogue in it is great too.
Nice. Awesome.
So so Malignant and Cop Shop, great movies.
Sweet.
It was, and Cop Shop doesn't really fall under the Halloween banner, but Malignant definitely did.
Nice.
And there I shouldn't even say that the first 2/3 are stupid because like there was some good moments
Sure.
in the first.
I mean, what horror movie's great from beginning to end? Not even horror movies I love. So it's rare. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
from
fair.
the get-go is a horror movie ever good? Generally, there are parts or bits where you're like,
Yeah, that's fair.
but if the ending, like you said, makes up for it, I'm in. I'm all in.
100%.
That's sweet.
You're now going to tell me the alien story, aren't you? The extraterrestrial.
Extra.
Extra. Okay, I want to hear this story.
Okay. So it takes place a long, long time ago in a land far, far away, in a place called Stettler, Alberta.
Stettler. Okay.
Buffalo Lake. I was at my friend's. We were at a long weekend, kind of like camping getaway. She has a cabin up in just outside of Stettler on Buffalo Lake. So we were all out there hanging out for the weekend, doing some swimming, maybe some mushrooms.
Okay.
Maybe just some hanging out.
So
And,
you were all messed up on mushrooms, and that's okay.
No. Not on the day that we went home.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so we're hanging out on the Sunday. The Monday is the long weekend. And we're kind of like, should we go back? None of us have to work. There's not like really any rush. We're like, do we just want to go back? Do we not? We're like, no, we'll stay for a night. So we make dinner and we're hanging out and the sun starts going down. And then for some reason we decided, we're like, well, let's just go back tonight. Like it was very last minute. We were like, let's just pack the car up and like head out onto the road and we'll just get into Calgary later, whatever, just no rush instead of staying overnight like we had already planned. So we load up the car. It's like dusk. The sun had just gone down. This is summertime. This is like August, maybe August long weekend, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so we start heading now. Stettler's like northeast of Red Deer.
Yeah.
So we start heading towards Red Deer. Now, this might seem fortuitous of sorts, but we started talking about alien movies like on our way into Red Deer. Mm-hmm. So we're driving like all back roads, and by this time it's like nighttime. And so we're driving and we're just talking about like movies that scared us to do with aliens. And so I was explaining to them that they need to watch Fire in the Sky was one of them.
Right.
That really changed my life. And then Communion is another one that came out a long time ago that is supposed to be about some people's real life experiences with aliens. So I was like, you guys should watch those movies. They're crazy. We are getting back onto the highway. We were just talking about aliens just briefly. We get onto the highway. Now we're heading like south into Calgary from Red Deer.
Right.
And by this time, obviously, it's pitch black out, tons of traffic on either side of the highway. And so we're driving in towards Red Deer and then through Red Deer. And then so we're on the highway. And so it's my friend Jen driving, her friend Ange, and then me in the back seat. So we're driving, and like I've lived in the northwest of Calgary my whole life. By this point, I didn't work at the airport, but I've seen like lots of planes and stuff flying in because I lived over a fly-in zone at the airport.
You know what a plane looks like.
So we're driving on the highway, and I see this light in the sky, and it's on the left-hand side of the highway. So it's like it's over here, and it's like really bright. It's unusually white.
Okay.
Like a different kind of white.
Right.
Than like you would see like a plane or like a moon or like a something.
Right.
It was like a pure white light. And so I didn't say anything at the time. I'm just like looking at it, and it's dark out and there's traffic, and like I don't have the best eyesight at night, obviously. And so I'm like, oh, maybe it's just a plane, maybe it's a star, maybe it's a thing. And so I'm keeping my eye on it, and I'm like, it's not moving. Like we're moving, but it's like staying still. And so I'm like watching it and we're approaching it. And then so I say something just briefly. I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, do you guys see that light like over there in the sky on the left hand side? And they're like, oh, they like look. They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I've been watching it for a bit. Like it hasn't like moved or anything. Just keep your eye on it. And they were like, okay, yeah, whatever. And so we're like approaching it. We're getting closer to it. And like by this time, we're kind of like approaching it. It's like above me, but it's like close. It's like within a kilometer, basically.
Right.
And so my friend Jen starts being like, she's driving. She's like, it's not moving. And I'm like, no, it's not moving. I was like, we're moving, but it's not moving. And she's like, yeah. And so we're getting closer to it. And then as soon as we drive underneath it, as soon as we're basically underneath the light, I'm like in the backseat, like looking up through the window on the driver's side. And I'm trying to see it because we're at like a weird angle. And then as soon as we drive underneath it, the light shuts off. And I was like, it just shut off its light. And then from when the light was off, I could see an outline of it in the sky because it was like darker and further down than the sky was like backlit. And there was like tons of like highway lights and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, it's cigar shaped. Like it's like shaped like a pill. Like you would take a pill or whatever, or like a cigar. No wings, like nothing's protruding out of it in any horizontal fashion. And so as soon as I say the lights shut off, my friend Jen started freaking out.
Right.
And she's like, we need to get the F out of here. And I'm like, no, we need to pull over. And she's like, we're not pulling over. And I'm like, no, we are pulling over, Jen. Like, this is like a once in a lifetime experience.
Right.
And so I'm still looking at it as we're driving underneath it. And then all of a sudden the lights on the bottom of it turn on. And it's like flashing like green and blue and white and like different colors that I can see. And they're kind of like going around in like a different pattern underneath it. And so I start getting really excited when I see the lights. I'm like, oh my God. Like it confirmed it for me basically, even though it was already confirmed. I'm like, Jen, it's a UFO. Jen, it's a UFO. I'm like, pull the car over. And she's like, no. And she's like, so she starts driving really fast. She's like doing like 130, 140 in the fast lane. And I'm like, Jen, stop. So we're like kind of mini arguing or whatever. And so by this time we had driven already like away from it. And now I'm like turned around in the back seat and I'm looking out the back window at it. And I'm just like, I can't keep my eyes off of it like after that, right? So I'm like staring at it and it's still like dark and has lights like flashing around it. And then I like look around. I like kind of take in for a second. I'm like looking around and there's no cars on the highway. So there's no cars behind us, no lights, no cars in front of us, no lights, no cars on the other side of the highway, like nothing. And we were just in like thick, heavy, like drive home, long weekend traffic. And I'm like, guys, there's no traffic. And they were like, and then from that point on, it was just chaos. So I'm staring at it through the back. Jen's driving like a maniac. I'm like, there's no traffic. I'm freaking out. I'm like, are we in a hologram? How is there no traffic? There's no way there should be no traffic. And so I hear Ange in the front seat make a noise, and I'll never forget it. She was like, And so I turn around because I'm facing the back, and I turn around to face the front of the car. And in front of us on the highway are like, I'm going to call them deer, but they're not deer. There was like 8 to 10, I'm going to say like a herd of deer on the highway, but they were like if cows and deer had a baby.
What?
So they had like a very like deer face. So like a very like narrow, like longer nose, thinner skull into this like thick neck, like stout body with these legs on the highway. And
like standing in the middle of the road.
They were all in the middle of the highway, like all standing in all the lanes of the highway.
Oh my God. All the way across, like the whole thing.
That we could have gone nowhere.
Oh my God.
So, and it happened so fast. So I'm staring out the back. Ange makes the noise. I turn around. I see the deer instantly, and I immediately brace myself in the backseat. I'm not wearing a seatbelt.
Oh.
Well, because I had to turn around.
I guess.
I can't move around, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like not seatbelted in, and I brace myself instinctually because we are going to hit these deer.
Right.
And so Jen doesn't stop. She's still driving. We drove right through them.
What do you mean?
We drove right through them. We didn't hit them. And like I remember distinctly like the headlights hitting them and like there was no reflection from their eyes.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you see a deer or anything out that's alive during at night, if the light hits the eyes, it'll bounce off the cornea or whatever. And you see that reflection. Their eyes, when reflected with the light, it was just black. Like I remember seeing the eyes of the deer and they were just black. Deer cows. Black. Yeah. So I brace myself. We drive right through them. I'm flat. I still don't understand. I'm still comprehending, like, how are we not dead? How did we not hit 8 million cow deer? So I turn around.
What?
Yeah. So I turn around and I look out the back and I'm like, did we run them over? And I don't know. Like, what happened? There's nothing.
Nothing.
There's also no traffic.
Still.
So I say to Ange, I'm like, Ange, when did this start? Like, how long ago did all this start? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, how do we not hit those deer? And I was like, I don't know how we didn't hit those deer. I don't know. I don't even know if those were deer. I was like, did you see their eyes? And they were like, yeah, there's like, it was weird. And I was like, yeah, I've never seen anything like that. I'm like, where's the UFO? So I'm like,
that's what I'm wondering.
I'm like looking out the back window, no traffic, no deer. Jen's driving like 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm like yelling at her to slow down, stop, pull over. Like she's like, I don't want to get anally probed. That's all she kept saying over and over again. I don't want to get anally probed. And I'm like, I just want to see. This is like, stop the car, you know. But she's literally freaking out. So I'm like trying to see if I can see the UFO in the sky still. And as I'm scanning, I see it. The light turns on the UFO. And it's like by this time we're past it. And it's still on the left-hand side of the road. And I'm keeping my eyes on it. And then it just floats up. And then I don't know if it shoots off or if the light shut off and it flew away. But I lost it. And so now we're like past Red Deer, driving into Airdrie. Like closer to Airdrie.
Okay.
So we're driving and like by this time there's like traffic and like we're back into like normalcy. And Jen's driving kind of normal, but still freaking out. And like, what was that? And we're all discussing it. And I'm like, what time was it? Do we have any missing time? Were we like taken or anything?
Well,
like,
yeah.
So we couldn't really confirm like on time because we weren't really paying attention. So we've talked about this many times through the years of trying to figure out if we could time it or not. And we can't. We just can't. We weren't in the right frame of mind to do that. So anyways, we're freaking out. Jen's like, you're staying over at my house. You're not like leaving me tonight. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And so as we're driving into Airdrie, I see it again on the right-hand side of the highway, on our side of the highway coming in, like maybe probably just like 5 or 6 clicks outside of Airdrie.
Okay.
And I knew instantly from the light because I could tell it was the same color light and it's just sitting there. And
It
I'm
was
like,
chasing you.
Yeah, I was like, there it is again. Jen starts freaking out. I'm like, pull over. She's like, no, I don't want to get alien probed. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm staring at it. And it's literally like in city limits. So I'm like, there's traffic everywhere. Like this time it was different. So same thing, following it. And then as soon as we get right underneath it and I'm staring up at it, the lights shut off again. And I'm like, it knows. Like it either knows that I'm looking at it or it knows that we're looking at it or something. Because the timing of it has always was the weirdest part. Like as soon as we drove underneath it, it shut off both times.
Right.
So yeah, anyways, so Jen's freaking out. I just basically keep my eye on it as we drive through Airdrie and then it just floats away. And that was it. That was kind of the end of our experience of our weird UFO experience. So
That is it's unbelievable. Like
100%.
That whole thing. It's I myself cannot fathom that, like what that kind of an experience would be like, because I've never had
pure adrenaline. For like a long period of time too.
Well, and it's funny because like it's funny because you're telling me all that where you're like, stop the car, like I want to see, and I'm thinking in my head where I'm putting myself in that where I'm like, okay, what do I do? Well, what Linky does is he fights. It's like fight or flight, and I think at that point I'm doing the same thing that your friend is doing, and I'm driving 180 away from this stupid thing straight into cow deer.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's
so
fair.
I don't know that I would have stopped either.
Yeah, that's fair. I just know in the moment I was all about it. I was like, take me, Jesus. No, but I was just like, this.
So you were not high on mushrooms?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
Okay.
There was no drugs consumed that day. No weed, no nothing.
Okay.
I promise you.
No, that's
the only
fair.
thing that was like kind of fortuitous about it was the fact that we were previously talking about aliens. And like I can understand as somebody who might be like a skeptic or think that I'm lying, that you could be like, oh, well, you know, you were pre-talking about it. And so by that way, you kind of like manifested it or convinced yourself that it was happening. And I'm like,
Right.
well, from these series of events, like if this is all in our minds, the three of us who experienced this together, then when we talk about it, we know every instance of the story. Like I'm sure if you played my recording back to when I previously talked about it ever, it's going to be pretty much the exact same story.
Right.
Like it's ingrained in my mind how it played out, you know?
Well,
So-
and you all had a shared experience. Like you
Totally.
clearly, you weren't sleeping because you were driving on the highway.
Yeah.
So that, you know, and you didn't fall asleep in the car and just experience it by
Right.
yourself because your friends experienced it as well.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah. And I mean, I believe in extraterrestrial life for sure.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
There's no possible way that the universe is that big
100%.
and that there's not life out there.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
So it's just a matter of it's just a matter of like, has extraterrestrial life actually gotten here without us knowing, you know, which
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think a lot of our like technological advances in the last 100 years have been maybe because of like reverse engineering certain technology.
well, and they've declassified a bunch of Pentagon stuff too. That's like, oh look, we don't know what that is. That's a UFO,
Yeah.
like unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
And their videos are always so shitty. Like they're those stupid like black and white ones that are just like it looks like nothing. Where
Yeah.
it's like literally on our phones we have better cameras than their stupid
Yeah.
jets.
Yeah, it's true.
But and I think that's because they're not actually cameras. I think they're like radar sensors
Yeah,
or something
definitely,
like
yeah.
that. But still, it's kind of. You've told me that story before, and I love that story so much because
Thanks, dude.
it's
It's not something I bring up very often.
no, but it's such an unreal story, and it's such an unreal.
I've seen a couple since. Actually, I saw one very recently this past summer, like in around June.
Oh my God, tell me!
It's a very brief, nothing crazy,
Okay.
no weird like cow deer or anything. Just walking my dog in the neighborhood at night. I would always go for like late night walks.
All right.
I always go around midnight or whatever. Like, let's go, come on. So I'm out summertime walking around and I'm walking down a hill and I live really close to the airport still. So I see like planes coming in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this light sitting just up in the sky or whatever. And it was just sitting there. I'm like walking along and I'm like, that's not moving. Like, what is that? Is that a planet? And then I'm walking. I'm like, no, that's not a planet. And then it just like shoots up. Like you could see like a little bit of a propellant almost, like a whoosh, and then it like a whoosh, and then a whoosh. It did like a stair climb, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was sitting here and it did like a propulsion up.
Yep.
And then a propulsion like
Over.
forward, and then a propulsion up, and then a
Okay.
propulsion forward, and then it just a turn and spin. And I was like, I watched the whole thing happen and I was like, that was sick. That was fucking rad. Because I was like, nothing moves like that.
No.
Nothing moves like that we know of. Moves in that kind of step formation and then to take off that smoothly too,
Yeah.
you know? Like from a movie. It's like it looked like it was from a movie.
Yeah, because the what we know of with like helicopters, we know the way helicopters move. We know the way planes move. We know the way satellites move.
Totally.
We you know, like all those things. So it's like, yeah, when you're looking into the sky and you see a light and it's not moving, your first impulse is like, okay, is that a planet?
Totally.
And then when you see it kind of do something like that, you're like, that's not a planet.
I know. I remember being like, Lou, we just saw a UFO. And he was like, peeing on a tree.
Don't care.
Yeah, don't care, Dad.
That's no moon.
But yeah, I love that. Just don't come in my house, aliens. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that's
Stay up in the sky. I'll look at you up there. I don't need you in my room at the end of my bed, waking up. I'm good.
Anally probing you.
Yeah. Yes, please. Thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, no kidding.
So a poll of, I just wanted to discuss this with you because we're movie TV guys.
Okay.
A poll of more than 200 television specialists from 43 countries.
Television specialist.
How do you get that job?
I want that job.
You just watch TV and
Yeah.
you know about TV. Okay.
Okay.
From 43 countries has resulted in a list of the top 100 greatest TV series since 2000.
Oh, so the last
just
21 years.
Yeah, nothing previous. So
Okay.
don't get your panties in a twist that we're not bringing up Degrassi. The first one. Well, you know what I mean.
Why?
I don't know.
Grass?
Just made that up. It says here in the article that I was reading which one it was. But anyways, so
Yeah.
I'll just do top 10.
Yeah.
So top 10, we'll go from 10 up.
Okay.
So 10 is Succession. I never watched this show.
Oh, Succession. I think I started Succession, and
Like I don't know,
It
but
looks-
for it to be top 10,
that's the one with Kieran Culkin in it, and like a whole bunch of other people. I'm pretty sure that they're like a family that they like run a company and they're like billionaires or something, and then there's like a whole bunch of like infighting in the. I've heard it's unreal.
Okay.
And it's I believe it's Showtime. Like it's
Okay.
So it's I believe from my understanding that show's unreal. So I can see top 10.
Okay.
Of the last 20 years though. I don't it the rest of what you're about to tell me is really going to determine how I feel about that
for
top
sure.
10.
Definitely. Okay, so number 9, The Office UK,
Okay,
which
yeah.
I also didn't know was only 2 years.
Yeah, they only
It
did
ran
2
from
seasons.
2001 to 2003. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they only did 2 seasons, which
crazy.
is why when they adapted it for to the US version really wanted to kind of separate itself and like really become it, because in the first season they did a lot of the same stuff that they did a lot of the same stuff that they did in the first in the UK stuff. Like I think the whole pilot is like almost the same episode.
Okay, yeah.
From what I remember, like literally like the putting the things in Jello and all that. Like
Yeah.
I think that's from the UK stuff. But it was like in season 2 and forward where the American one really wanted to become its own thing.
Gotcha.
And it did.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like so number 9, I guess UK Office. Yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
Number 9, UK Office. Number 8, The Americans. That's like an NBS or NBC show.
The Americans. Oh, it's
I think it's like their parents are secretly
and they're in Russia.
Russian
Yeah.
spies, but they're living in like Connecticut.
I never watched it.
Like, who cares? When is America going to get over the Russians? Like, get over it.
This list is top 100?
Yeah, so first of all, we
all
disagree
right.
with that.
Yeah.
That was number 8. Number 7, The Leftovers with Liv Tyler. Do you
And
remember
Justin
that?
Theroux.
Justin Theroux.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Is it number 7 on the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I tell you that I can pick almost every other show on here to replace it as being better?
What do you mean?
Any other show that's on Curb Your Enthusiasm is at number 21. How is it not in the top 10? But do you know what I mean? There's other shows on this list that I could swap that show out
With
for
Leftovers?
instantly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah, because okay. So that's number 7.
Number 7, number 6, I May Destroy You. It says 2020, so it's a very new show.
I May Destroy. I May Destroy You.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know why that's in the top. I haven't watched it, but
I've seen that. That's the screen grab.
Yeah.
of that. Is it a guy in a wig? Or
I don't know.
a person
I don't
in a
know.
wig? Yeah.
I know nothing about that show.
Okay, so that was number 6, right?
Okay, so at this point, I've watched one of the shows.
Yeah, you've seen The Office, UK?
I think that's it. And even then, yeah, okay.
Number 5, Game of Thrones.
Just number 4.
Fleabag.
Okay, I've heard Fleabag's really.
It's like that woman writer.
Yeah.
It got a lot of acclaim.
Yeah, they won an Emmy or 2, I think. They've won a few Emmys, I think. I heard it's unreal. So yeah,
That's what I've heard too. Top 3 are not going to surprise. Well, 2 of them might, or 1 of them might, but the 3 are pretty.
number 3.
Number 3, Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah,
Okay, yeah,
100%.
sure.
I'm surprised it's not number 1, but yeah, okay.
Number 2, Mad Men.
Wow, Mad Men is higher than Breaking Bad?
Number 2,
Wow. Okay. I would flip those 2
100%.
because Breaking Bad, I mean, obviously Breaking Bad would be my number 1
Okay.
because I love Breaking Bad a lot. Mad Men, I love too. Mad
Me
Men
too.
is
I
one
watched
of
the whole-
best period drama
Yes.
TV shows
Yes.
ever.
Yeah, and if you think that you're going to be bored by that show, trust me, you will not
No,
be.
you're not. Yeah.
You will not be.
Yeah. And then number 1, I'm assuming is Soprano. No, Sopranos was 90s. So what is it? No, what's number 1?
The Wire.
What? Okay, so that would have started in 2000.
It was in 2002 to 2008.
Oh, that makes
6
sense.
seasons, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
It is a really good show.
I have to watch it. I
You've
know.
never watched it.
No, we talked about that on a. I think we talked about that on a.
I forget.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
And The Wire. I haven't watched either of those.
Right.
And I know, and I want to watch the Sopranos movie that just came out.
Yeah.
I really want to watch that, but I'm just like, I don't know. Do I have to watch the entire season?
Prequel. It's like a perfect thing for you to do.
Oh, so start with the movie and then go into.
It's about Tony's early life, and then when you start the show, it's all about his current life.
Oh,
so it would be good for you to watch the movie first.
Well, I knew it was a prequel, but I didn't know if there'd be too many like Easter eggs to the TV show.
You wouldn't know.
I guess I wouldn't know.
No.
Oh, I guess I wouldn't know. So there, it wouldn't matter.
No. Yeah.
Interesting.
You should definitely though. I want to watch that show.
Okay, so that
Saints
top
of something.
Yeah, the Saints of New Jersey or
Eastwick, or I don't know. The Witches of Eastwick.
The Witches of Eastwick. Actually, the girls watched that yesterday.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that was the top 10 from 43 TV specialists around the world. Please let me know if you need someone for that job.
Yeah, some of them are out to lunch on some of that.
Right? I mean, just looking at it, you got Twin Peaks, 6 Feet Under, Curb Your Enthusiasm, like Better Call Saul, Watchmen. I'm watching Watchmen right now, actually.
How is Watchmen not in the top 10?
You have Community.
How is Community not in the top 10?
Right? You got Halt and Catch Fire.
Halt and Catch Fire. How is Halt and Catch Fire not in the top 10? What number is Halt and Catch Fire?
Halt and Catch Fire is 50.
Oh, no.
Big Bang Theory at 56. I'm burning this phone. I have Big Bang Theory on here. Anyways, yeah.
How is Halt and Catch Fire at 50? Oh, my nose is itchy from the makeup. Anyway.
So let's do bottom 10 quick. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, 90.
What?
Okay, I'm just going to do this quick. I know. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, 90. Westworld, 91. Show Me a Hero, 92. Trem, New Orleans.
With John Goodman.
93. Louis, 94. Luther, 95.
Whoa. Hold on. Louis was 94?
Yeah. Luther was 95.
Luther with Idris Elba?
I never watched it.
I've heard that show is unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard it's unbelievable.
Catastrophe, 96. Hannibal, 97. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, 98.
Okay.
And Steven Universe at 99.
What's 100?
I can't see it. Oh, The Queen's Gambit. So that stupid chess movie.
What?
Was
Queen's
100.
Gambit was 100.
Yes. So yeah.
And Leftovers got 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch Queen's Gambit?
No, never watched
Queen's
it.
Gambit was great.
Okay, cool.
Really good.
Yeah.
Not 100.
No.
Queen's Gambit is higher than Big Bang Theory in my opinion. Right. Oh my God. There is so much wrong with that list. I want to know what their criteria was.
Yeah.
I do. I want to know what their criteria.
Is it like personal criteria? Is it just shows that you personally, as a TV specialist, love?
Well, you said there was 43 of them, right?
Yeah.
So they probably like voted on each TV show.
Yeah.
Their personal preference. I would assume their personal preference, and then from there they would take an
compile
average.
a list. Yeah.
Yeah, they would take the average of like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, well, that's...
I bet you if there was a show on the list that they thought was higher but wasn't on the list, they couldn't put it on there.
Somewhere, yeah. I bet you're right.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think I'm going to go and eat some candy.
Oh.
And wait for some trick-or-treaters to show up at my house. For this episode of the Halloween MP podcast, I'm Lincoln.
I'm ABomb.
We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for watching.